We'll start with the drills for Module 5 with your bladed stance. So you're going to be facing your dummy, and it's always important to use your dummy as a reference. You're going to be approached. You're going to step back. Okay? Face your target, blade your stance. Again, step back. You're going to be doing this, and this is going to be incorporated in your drills. So you have to be really, really strict when you're practicing and you're training that you establish distance. Just like we talked about during the instructional, you have a tendency to get lazy. So you really want to make sure that you're establishing the correct distance between you and your target. So it's still step back and still far enough away where if he has to hit me, he's got to shift his weight. So we blade, we step back. Now that advanced step, just pick your feet up, stomp in. Now we move back, retreat. Step in, retreat. Step in, retreat. Really simple. Again, just get used to stopping your feet and moving instinctively and convulsively. Remember, as you advance, your lead foot moves first. As you retreat, your rear foot moves first. Next, we'll just move to the side step. So if I'm moving to forward or to my right, whatever foot you feel comfortable with, that's the one you step with. So we just step and move and back. Step and move. And we practice going to our rear or going to our left. Again, whatever foot you feel comfortable. Typically, it's the foot that's closest to the direction that you want to move that moves first. In this case, it's not terribly important, but naturally you're going to wind up doing it anyway. So you'll just look at your target, step back. Then moving forward, step back. Forward, back. Forward, back. It's important that you get used to moving in this manner. Extremely important. Again, when we're training people, to every technique and every method, there are two functions going on. There's a primary technique, which in this case is the footwork, and then there's a secondary technique, in which case that's the striking and the kicking and all the ones that you pay most attention to. But most important is your body movement and your footwork. That's primary, and that's what you're training constantly. So, the half pivot, really simple. We're going to move. If I want to pivot in this direction, if I have a threat coming from here, I would just pivot here. Okay. Again, turning the direction. There's a threat coming to my rear, pivot. Okay. Threat coming to my rear again, pivot. Okay. Moving in the other direction, I look, threat coming to my rear, pivot. Threat coming to my rear, pivot. Threat coming rear, pivot. Which way you pivot depends on what your instinct tells you to do. So you're going to naturally, if you're, again, putting your strong side forward. So practice all directions, all sides. Lastly is the full pivot. So you're going to face your target. Again, if you have some time and you're looking to increase the distance, you're going to look, you're going to step and turn. Again, facing your target, step and turn. Let this cheat step go first. You're going to want to do it anyway. Don't try to pivot out of the way because your foot's going to step and it's going to clear a little path so your lead foot can come in. So I'm approached, step, turn. He approaches, step, turn. Obviously, you're not going to be using this technique when the guy's close. Because if I start moving backwards and he's already into your space, it's going to be done. Okay? In that case, you would obviously attack or just use a retreat step just to reestablish your distance. So the footsteps and the footwork is going to be very straightforward and just get used to it. It's not something that you're going to have to do often, but in the beginning, at least for the first 4 weeks when you have this module, train, practice it, and get used to it. Afterwards, you'll just go right into the next series of exercises, which is just going to be actually blading and finger darting and hitting the dummy. Now we're going to move into the blade and finger dart. For this, all these techniques, you're going to work all directions. So we'll start with the target in front. You'll just step and dart. Again, don't worry too much about making contact with the dummy. It's actually, a good idea to miss a few times, which you're going to anyway. So your approach, you step back, you blade and finger dart. Blade, finger dart. Blade, finger dart. Again, the hand just snaps out convulsively into the target. You're just wanting to get him to just snap his face a little bit just to distract him. So again, you can either escape or you can hit him with something harder. So that was side one. Just turning from your dummy. Okay, so now we're going to step two. Now, you don't have to blade when you're practicing the other directions. Okay, you don't need to. Simply because you're going to naturally go back to your strong side. So now you're just practicing. So now you're just practicing the directions as if you were approached while you were engaged with another target. So you'll just step to your side and finger dart. Get used to what your distance is. Again, it's really just both sides of your body. Now, practice turning and finger darting. Turn. Turn with that pivot step, looking in the direction of your target. Of course, the other side of your body. It's a blade, finger dart. The thumb spear will come either straight or at an angle. So you're going to work both the techniques, all directions, both paths. So it's either going to be straight or hooked. So you don't have to work out of a bladed stance. We're doing that with our finger darts. Now we're just going to work out of this. We're not going to have to get into a bladed stance. We're going to work out of the bladed stance. So you're going to just take your thumb, poke it to his throat, into his face. Now, take it on a hooking path. Hook it. Work both sides of your body. Now hook it. Now, you can do it where you're turning and spear, just with a little pivot. And the other side of your body. And now with a hook. And the other way. And that's your thumb spear. We'll do the edge of hand out of this bladed stance now. going to be first a horizontal. So just get used to moving and chopping. Work both sides of your body. You notice that now my relation to the dummy is closer. It's because, again, we're putting more power into our technique as opposed to the finger dart. See the thumb jab. Now you see the edge of hand. So now we're putting more weight and more commitment into the technique. Obviously, the result is more power. So that was a horizontal edge of hand. Now we'll come with a vertical edge of hand. Dropping the weight, same as before. Both sides of your body. And now coming up from underneath with that vertical rising edge of hand. Make sure you're whipping your body. The other side. Again, the body whips. Whip and snap those techniques. The edge of your hands. Next is the back fist. Again, it's the same as the edge of hand. The only difference is now we're just making a fist. We're striking with the back of the front two knuckles. In this case, there are a variety of back fists. This is just the one that's the most instinctive and convulsive on the onset. So you're going to whip your body and snap it in. The other side. Again, side of the head, eye, throat. Next is the vertical downward. Again, you can keep it straight. You can even break the wrist a little bit. Okay, snap it into the face. And the other side. Just like that vertical upward edge of hand, back fist, same thing, same motion. So snap it. Again, this isn't necessarily going to go into the testicles. It could go, most likely you're going to be going into the bladder and, into the solar plexus. The other side, again, still that whipping motion. Now, I must note that because of your training with your dummy, it's going to tell you what part of your hand you're going to be hitting with. If you're hitting with the top of the hand, then you're going to have to make an adjustment. So you make sure that you're hitting with the knuckles. And that only comes through training. And all that improvement, that only comes from actually hitting your training dummy. Thinking about it, talking about it, hitting the air doesn't do any good. Okay, so it's important to have that really called like fancy word for hitting the dummy would be dynamic feedback training. Yes, but it's just hitting the dummy and actually hitting something. Okay, good. Okay, coming back from module 2, we're just going to review with the double chin jab or double palm smash. So your hands are just going to come up. You'll start from now. It doesn't matter coming out of a bladed position because now this technique you're going to be really putting the wood into your target. Okay, so we've gone from finger dart, thumb jab, edge of hand, back fist. Now we're double chin jab. Of course, we'll get into the elbows later, but right straight in. So again, hands travel right up the center line, into the target, find the eyes. Again, you're just thinking about just driving these up, keeping your chin down, and just disconnecting them from the jaw. Double chin jab. We're going to do double axe hand chop. So, very important in these types of blows to make sure you're dropping your weight into your technique. So your hands are just going to raise up. You keep them tight to your body. Drop it in and snap it in. The two different ways you're going to be hitting: a snapping for a shocking effect, or a driving for a real penetrating effect. If I was going to follow up with a series of blows, I would use the snapping. If you're going to follow up with a grab, you would use the deep bang, penetrating. Whenever you're putting your hands on somebody to grab them, it's going to be that type of strike. Okay? So really, hands just come tight to your body. Don't flare them out. Keep them nice in the silhouette. Whenever you're just from like in module 1 and 2, keeping your hands tight into your body whenever they're active. As soon as you do more injury to them, same rules apply. Now you can take your hands away and open up and put more power into the technique. Now we'll move into the elbow series. Again, so we went finger dart, thumb jab, edge of hand, back fist, double chin jab, double axe hand. Now we're getting into the elbows. Again, they're right on your person, into your space. We're just going to do that forward hooking elbow. Hand just comes up and finds its way into the chin, into the target. Both sides of your body, of course. Again, has a nice arcing motion to it. Let it whip, twist your hips and your body, just like you were throwing a hook punch, doing a slap, same motion. Let your body torque. Hip leads the technique. So I pull my body, my hip takes the technique out. Now we'll go to a forward hooking elbow with a pivot. So we're going to be one step away. You're going to step and turn. Again, this doesn't necessarily have to go to the head. This can also go to the body to create some space. So as you're stepping back, just to get people out of your way. Work both sides of your body. So you step, open up for the pivot, load up. Again, you'd be in a situation where you need somebody to get out of the way, not necessarily engage them fully. You just step and find your way out. Again, step to the head. important with your feet, again, to open up on that pivot step. Lead so you have some place to go. If you just try to just turn your feet, it's not natural and it's a little useless. So step, open up. Missing is an important part of learning. So when you miss, this is a good thing. So you step here, at least you'll get used to the feeling. You'll miss more in a real fight than you will hit. Okay? So practice both low and high elbows with a pivot, both sides of your body. Reverse hooking elbow with a pivot. Now situation, you need to turn. Target's behind you. Just step and unload. Step. As you notice, there's not much difference between this and this. Only distance. Only distance. To the body. Other side. To the body. Again, using that body weight, using that momentum, and just turning, bang, turning. Again, still, when they're close, it's tight, they're here, now I move with a pivot. Reinforced elbow. So it's going to be up to you whether you're going to practice like this or practice like this, okay? Again, it's easier, it's more symmetrical to start just like this, so I suggest it. But if you have prior training and this feels more comfortable to you, by all means. So now we're going to stand extremely close to our target. Just going to twist our body. Again, low or high. Both sides. Again, to the body. Then to the head. Now, in keeping with the principles of Module 5, for this, you wouldn't want to take too much of a step, okay, because you don't want to sacrifice the distance. I mean, your instinct is going to do, you're going to do what you're going to do, okay? But in the purposes of training and in keeping true to the program, don't practice with the step, okay? A little step, little cheat step, that's fine because you're going to be taking ground anyway, but stay away from stepping in for the big one, okay? So just get extremely close and work from that range there. Rear elbow. Now, they're right on top of you. Just going to twist the body. No real wind up. No real wind up. Again, we covered this in Module 2, but again, for review, twist and torque your body. And to the other side. what determines right or left elbow is what your instinct is going to tell you to do. If you feel they're just a little on your side, fine. This side, fine. Now if they're in the middle and you're dominant, right or left, doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. The point is, this is before there's really any contact. Okay, obviously we're not going to be able to do this once they've engaged us or grabbed us. So from here, just twist. And then start to come out. That's your rear elbow. Now we'll go to rear elbow high. Same thing as the rear elbow low. Again, when you're doing this, you're hearing me grunt. That's not because, well, one, it's because great thing was told to me by a man years ago. When you hit with hate. So it's very important when you hit it to really feel that venom. Now, physiologically, it's important to make a noise for your breathing. As I mentioned before several times during the series, you need to breathe. Again, especially when you're stressed, hyperventilating, and when we're teaching in the professional instructor program, when you're teaching students, or if you're an instructor yourself, and the reason behind the ki, there's a psychological effect of yelling and screaming a war cry at your target. But again, it's got a very practical application besides those important factors, which is just getting oxygen into your system. So, bringing that high elbow up. You're just practicing reps. So again, the other side, look. Now just practice coming out. Other side. It's the rear high elbow. Okay, now for module 4, we had double forearm shiver. Again, it's a good opportunity to practice it. So you're here, stepping in, dropping in. Again, like before, making sure your chin is tucked, you're below the shoulder line. Hand comes underneath the forearm, into the waist. Work out of the bladed stance. And the other side. Double forearm shiver. Now for the downward elbow smash, we brought out our heavy bag. Again, this is for when you have a target that's a assailant's bend over, you're down, you've caused some significant injury. Again, I repeat, this is not for as somebody who's actively attacking your legs and trying to take you down. You won't be able to generate enough power, and heck, you won't be able even to move set your feet. So, elbow comes up, drop straight down to the target. Again, very similar to what we were doing with the vertical axe hand chop. Weight drops into the target. So you just step and drop it down. And just imagine just driving your elbow straight through the floor. Step. And the other side. Again, it's a downward elbow smash. First leg technique is the whip kick. So we're going to start from bladed position, let the foot flick up, right into the testicles or the fork of the body. Target. We step back, up, back, up, back, blade. Again, find you're going to be have to be a little bit closer than you are with your finger dart. That's why we start with the finger dart. So you're going to step. Now the leg just whips the target. Notice my feet. I still keep this position. Okay, I don't turn my foot and focus my power into the target. Again, it's just for keeping them away to get a reaction out of them, to get them to pause. So, we start, we blade, we kick. Start, blade, kick. To the other side. Okay, going to the other side now. Step, kick. Step, kick. Step, kick. Step, kick. Okay, now I'm training with boots on, so it's nice. I can hit metal and the underside of him, and it doesn't really make a difference. Okay, so whip kick, practice out of that bladed stance. Let it snap. Don't worry about chambering it. The foot just comes from wherever it is and snaps into the target. That's it. Wherever it is, you blade, let it fly. It's your whip kick. Okay, the side kick or side boot smash. Going to be in this bladed position, so you can start blading and kicking. Again, turn, foot just comes up from wherever it is. Don't worry about like making it like a side kick or what you would see in karate or taekwondo. It's not that kind of kick. Okay, each kick has its application. Again, it's not saying that those side kicks don't work. I mean, they do. Again, we don't have a lot of time. In this case, again, we just want to cause as much damage as quickly as possible. So again, the whole power for speed exchange. So you're gonna start. You're gonna step back and kick. Step back and kick. Blade, kick, blade, kick. Now to the other side. Back. So I want you to notice something also just about distance again. The whip kick here, side kick a couple inches closer. Okay, so again, same protocol that happened with our hand techniques, happened with our leg techniques. It's a side kick. Pivot kick starts from now about a body length or stance length away. So you're going to step, turn your body. Again, here's an instance where I want to cover distance to my target. I could be in a situation where it's a third party and he doesn't necessarily see you. So in other words, we could be from this position here, and I step and move into him. So what you're learning isn't necessarily for, hey, I see you, you see me, we fight, which is clearly not the case a lot of times. So just from here, you're going to step, drive the point of the boot. It's a little high just for the dummy's sake, into his kidneys or his gallbladder or his liver, and it. Okay. Step. Good. Open the feet up. Turn the upper body first. Keep the legs slightly bent. And just put the tip of your boot into his person. Step. Step. Now working both sides. Step. step. Change the angle a little bit. Go from the side. I mean, you may be in a situation where his attention is focused to someone on your team. Move. Follow accordingly. Again, leaves your hands free. If you're carrying a weapon, or if you were, didn't want to engage in him right away, use your legs first. Strongest part of your body. Okay, that's the pivot kick. The rear mule kick comes from, again, an extreme rear position, extreme close range. Just pick your foot up and drive it back. As you can see, it generates some power. Okay, taking your heel of your boot, driving it right into your target. Both sides, pick the foot up, drive it back. It's okay to miss. So now we'll practice. You'll just kick and just turn. Other side. Missing is fine. Now, it's not necessarily your action would be just to turn, but again, you're training yourself to understand that this is not the end of the fight. Okay, and that's why again when we move into combinations. So, two phases of your training. One is developing the individual technique. Okay, two is developing your instinct to continue with a barrage of strikes. So, the combinations, I really only give you some ideas, but really what's going to happen is through your training and through your individual technique practice, certain things will start to come out of you and you'll feel more comfortable. That's the rear mule kick. We'll move to the rear heel stomp. Again, extreme close range. Just pick up the foot. Right now I'm just stomping it on the base of the Spar Pro. Again, you could have anything or nothing. You could just be stomping your foot into the ground. It's just nice to have an object that you can, feel under your foot. So step. And the other foot, stomp, back down. Real simple, not too complicated. Rear heel stomp. Move that front stomp now. Similar to rear stomp. Just notice now the foot is coming in on a more of a horizontal or vertical position. The other side. Again, nothing too deep there. Just this front foot stomp. The last strike is the forward knee jab. Again, starting from that extreme close range, you're going to be driving your foot up, stomping it straight down underneath your target. Again, to strike the testicles, like we mentioned before, first two modules, you have to come up from underneath. So standing here. That's it, driving up. Right now I don't have anything underneath here. If you don't want to hit the metal, that's okay. Fashioning another pad underneath your dummy always does the trick. Little duct tape and a tie pad, and you're all set. Okay, now we'll start putting those together in combinations like we did at the end of the instructional. So you face your target, you blade, finger dart, whip kick. Again, face your target, blade, work both directions. So, if you're going to be standing back, blading here, then just turn to the other side to practice the other direction. Because you necessarily wouldn't, you're not going to be, this is reactive when you're already bladed. Blading itself is proactive, so you're going to go back to the side you feel most comfortable on. Pretty simple, just like we said before. So whenever you do anything proactive, it's whatever you feel comfortable with. Reactive, you work the direction. You don't choose the situation. So proactive, we're sitting back, we're blading, we're whipping. Reactive is now we're just working the other side of your body. That's the basic blade stance, finger dart, whip kick combination. That is the foundation of this system. Our tension is going to be focused this way. Now we have a threat coming from the other direction, so it's going to be that quarter pivot, finger dart, whip kick. So from here, quarter pivot, whip kick. Here, and now working the other direction. So threat from this direction, we step, poke, kick. Again, getting used to your range, the farthest part away you can be, then you know where you're effective from. Okay? Even out here, missing gets him to react for you to make a break for it, to do what you need to do. So now we're just going to do the half pivot with the finger dart and the whip kick. Again, we're working all four directions, and not necessarily front and rear. You still have to train to adjust from coming from either direction on either of your flanks, and that's what you're going to pick up with the half pivot. With the half pivot, we're here. Our tension's here. New threat comes in. Half pivot. Facing our initial threat. Turn. Pivot. Again to the other direction. Facing our threat here, pivot. Threat is here, new threat comes in, half pivot, poke, kick. Next combination is going to be that blade, finger dart, whip kick. Now we're going to do edge of hand high, edge of hand low. Blade. Blade, poke, kick, horizontal edge of hand high, vertical edge of hand low. Okay, similar to the last combination, it's going to be now this turn, poke, leg whip, back fist high, back fist low instead of the edge of hand. So make sure you snap it just like you did with the edge of hands. Again. And again. Again, really simple, same as before, just building on what we just learned. Snap, snap, drive it in. Now we're going to shift our focus to a threat from the rear. So you're going to start with the blade finger dart whip kick. Now it's low elbow, high elbow. So you will blade finger dart whip kick. And just for, we'll just do the other direction. So blade, finger dart, whip kick. Again, get used to moving in the other direction now. Again, your threat is here. You poke, you kick, he backs off, his partner comes up. You handle that threat. Here, poke, kick, midsection, high. Now I'll be shifting directions twice now. So we're first going to start with that blade finger dart. Okay, now we're just going to turn edge of hand. It's going to be a double chin jab. Okay, vertical chop, knee. Then we've got a rear mule kick, elbow low and high. Let's work it into a few parts here. So it's going to be first blade, poke, kick. Okay, working one direction. Again, blade, poke, kick. Again, see, I get ahead of myself, I get excited. Okay, so we blade, poke them, kick them, edge of hand, chin jab, vertical, knee, rear stomp, low, high. Again, poke, kick. Now, working the one direction. Now let's work the front target now. So, going in the other direction, working the other dimension of the drill. Here, poke, kick, turn, edge of hand, double chin jab, vertical, knee, mule kick, low, high. Again, poke, kick, vertical. Time. So you see, working the different dimensions with the dummy, necessarily, hey, if you have a couple of them, great. If you have your heavy bag set up, it'll give you a little bit more dimension. But as you can see, you don't really need to do that. You don't really need to do that. The primary purpose of this drill is to shift direction. First focus here, secondary threat, primary threat again, and then off you go. So now we're going to work a couple directions here. First will be our blade, finger dart, side kick, pivot kick, edge of hand high, edge of hand low. So we're going to work first to the primary threat, and then we're going to work the secondary threat. Turn. Okay, so we work primary threat, now we work secondary threat. So now our primary threat is coming from here. We finger dart, side kick, pivot kick, high, low. Okay, first we start with the rear heel. Our thread is coming from the rear first, so we obviously have a distraction in front of us. So rear heel. Okay, next is a high elbow, edge of hand, finger dart, whip kick, back fist, reinforced elbow to the midsection. So again, smash, high elbow, finger dart, whip kick, back fist, elbow to the midsection. To the rear, now we work to the front. We work the primary thread where the secondary thread is behind us. So stomp, elbow low, edge of hand, finger dart, whip kick, back fist low, elbow smash. So again, from the rear, smash, elbow, edge of hand, finger dart, whip kick, back fist, elbow. To the other side. So you can, for camera's sake, so stomp, elbow, edge of hand, finger dart, whip kick, back fist, elbow. Here. Again, slowly, stomp, elbow, edge of hand, finger dart, whip kick, back fist high, elbow to the midsection. Again, working both dimensions of the drill. Now we're just going to finish up with this blade, finger dart, side kick, pivot elbow, reinforced elbow mid, and reinforced elbow high. So blade, finger dart, side kick, pivot. So blade, reinforced, side kick, pivot elbow, reinforced, high. As you can see, you can grab on the elbow, you can grip. Again, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. Just whatever comes to you naturally. So pivot. From the other direction. So we're here, we finger dart, we blade. We pivot, elbow, low, high. For this instance, we're just going to practice with just a little pepper spray. If you're carrying a firearm, you would practice drawing a weapon, and this will give you at least some real feeling of deploying the weapon and and what it's going to feel like and how you're going to be able to move it into position and do what you need to do. Again, this is an inner trainer. This is part of our 10-lesson self-defense course that the professional instructors teach, and this is one of the combinations that they teach new students. So you're going to just blade, finger dart, whip kick. Now I'm just going to move back, draw the pepper spray, and deploy it. In this case, in a self-defense situation, we'll yell fire. This is, again, old self-defense trick, meaning that most people will come if there's a fire. Not too many people will come if you yell help. So Again, if you're law enforcement, military, and you need to instruct your target, that would be obviously the time you would be giving them their instructions. So, simply put, we blade, whip kick, pull the pepper spray, fire! That's it. Now, as it's a little limited in the studio as for my space, as far as where I can move, because as I'm finding this, what's going to happen is if they continue to press the threat, I'm going to have to continue to fight while I find my weapon. So it's not always going to be, cut and dry. Okay, I go to A, I go to B, I go to C. I'm going to have to go to A to B to A again, and then finally to get to C. So, being the case, threat, fire! Again, threat comes in, fire! More time. Blade. Fire! Okay, you can see that if I were moving in a direction where I kept continuing to engage him without giving myself the opportunity to break contact, there would be no way for me to have time to draw my weapon. Okay, these are the things you have to consider and the choices you have to make. Okay, and again, it may not be a weapon you carry, it may be something you pick up off the ground. And this is what we'll go to next. It's a good idea to practice by placing debris in bottles or sticks around and teach yourself to look for them when you train. I just simply took one of our sticks, tan stick, and just tossed it on the ground. Your training area, you just might want to throw a variety of things around. Again, training yourself to look and to make use of your environment. So really, blade, finger dart, whip kick, edge of hand, I may move back. Now I pick up my stick. Okay, again. And yeah, we get into the weapon stuff in the later module. So, here. Again, really simple. You get the idea. Have some fun with it. But again, don't forget, you've got other resources around you. And you can find sticks anywhere in nature. Pick something up, use it to your advantage. Okay? Understand to use your environment. It's very difficult when you're stressed to focus, to shift your focus away from your primary threat. The only way to be able to have a chance of doing that is to train yourself these types of behaviors now while you have the opportunity. This concludes your training for Module 5. Until next time, good luck. Train honestly.